Welcome everyone to another Raid Shadow Legends video. Today we have update 5.0 highlights and my reaction to it. Let's go ahead and get started. I'm not going to actually go over every single word in detail. Seems to be a little monotonous, but I am going to cover all the highlights. First things first, buried at the very bottom, very bottom down here is nice highlight. We've decided to strengthen the champion Alexander the Sharpshooter. The chance of placing freeze on his A1 will increase from 35% to 50%, and the damage output of his A2 and A3 skills will increase. So apparently, his multipliers were a little low. Like I said, I feel like he's going to be a straight killer in the game. I'm expecting those multipliers to be super high. Apparently, they weren't high enough. Well, hopefully they are now. We also got some brand new news. CVC is coming on Sunday, and we have a CVC before the Hydra boss comes. Now, they wanted to know what our feedback was on that. Love it. Love it. I mean, you're allowing us, I don't know about other people, but I save my materials for CVC. So when it comes to clan versus clan, I'm going to be dumping all my heroes. You know, the 50s are going to 60, the skill books are getting used, the masteries are getting done up. So I'm waiting. I'm waiting. Don't have the Hydra boss drop before the clan versus clan. Let us buff our dudes up right before the Hydra boss comes out. Perfect planning. Well done, Plarium. Way to listen to the player base. Way to do something that makes sense and it's going to, benefit us in the long run. So I really appreciate that. I'm going to be using all my materials up right before Hydra boss drops. And damn, guys, listen. This is what we wait for in every single game. I may be a new player to Raid Shadow Legends, but I am not a new game player in this world. I've been playing games for a long time. I've been playing every single raid boss you could think of in games like World of Warcraft. And when it comes to raiding, that's a big part of what I love to do. I'm a big first-person shooter game player like Call of Duty. I love MMOs like World of Warcraft and others. I actually came from New World to this game. So, what does every game need? In-game content. What does every game want more of? In-game content. What do we want? Bosses. So this boss right here specifically is very cool in my opinion. I don't care what kind of game you're playing, whether it's World of Warcraft or it's Raid Shadow Legends or some other game. Bosses are where it's at. I want boss loot. I want boss fights. I like hard encounters. I love stuff, personally speaking, that makes me think. I love to think. Other people have their head hurting. Man, I love it. Anything that makes me analyze. I'm an analytical mind. I love to think about things. I love to, look at this, look at that. Let's go ahead and get started. Raid boss, Hydra boss, coming 5.0. So super excited about this. This is what we look forward to in any and every kind of game, in-game content. And I'm going to be looking forward to this one big time. So we have a new boss map. So I'm guessing, since we have the bosses broke down into clan boss and Hydra boss now on a boss map, that this means more bosses, right? Logically speaking, you hope so, right? So hopefully they see a bunch more in-game content, boss type content added to this little boss map with the keys. So instead of being a daily boss with keys, we actually have a weekly boss with keys. We have 3 keys, okay? You get a free regroup button. The regroup button allows you to end the fight early. You could test out tactics, see how they work, and not save the results. So I love stuff like this, man. Plarium, please add more things that allow us to test things, allow us to, fine-tune our comps without wasting our precious resources. Love it. Love it. Okay, so 4 heads per fight, plus 2 on the sideline. There's 6 heads total. If you chop off a head, a new one replaces it, but not immediately. So each month, it reshuffles the heads and affinities, so you're going to get different kinds of fights, different kinds of setups. It's not going to be the same exact thing every single time. Other games pay attention to this because they're making their in-game content recyclable and new as it recycles. It was a very cool mechanic. We cannot reuse the champs from the boss fights. So if we use our champs, and you can have 6 champs per fight, use your 6 champs, they're all not usable for the next fight. So the first key champs can't be used for the second or third key. Keep that in mind. When you use your heroes, keep those group compositions in mind. You need 3 groups total, 3. All right, so this is like an in-game encounter. This is for in-game content. This is for in-game players who have lots of teams built up. So you should be doing in this game, building teams. So it has unique skills plus universal mechanics per head. So we have a mechanic where we consume the champs. So one Hydra can consume your champion, and if you don't kill that head before the champion is consumed completely, that champion will be gone from the fight, period. No block buffs, no block damage, no unkillable. None of that stuff can help you. So If you get eaten by the head, you have so many turns to get that hero out. And then once the hero's out, he can return the play, or he or she can. Now, you have a 200% damage bonus to the exposed neck once you chop off a head before another head comes to replace it or it regenerates. So you can do 200% bonus damage to the neck when it's exposed. This is how you rack up the points according to Plarium. So if you want to get big scores, chop off the head, continue to damage the head as it's chopped off until it regrows. Okay? So when the head does regrow, it regrows with Serpent's Will buff, a negative 75% damage buff. So you don't want to damage the head after it regrows back for a couple turns at least. You want that buff to go off. Let's go ahead and go down. And we have some new buffs and debuffs, mostly Hydra specific. Let's go ahead and go over those real quick. Some of those already mentioned, like Serpent's Will. Life Barrier. The Hydra's head HP is reinforced with a shield-like effect. However, Life Barrier takes priority over active shield buffs. Any damage directed at the head with this buff will be subtracted from the Life Barrier value first before the head's HP is affected. If Life Barrier is not depleted within a set number of turns, the head under this debuff or buff restores its HP to max. If Life Barrier is depleted, the head is stunned for 1 turn. Life Barrier cannot be removed, stolen, or otherwise affected by buff manipulation skills. So, you're going to want to knock this shield off, Life Barrier, the second it gets put on, you'll get that 1 turn stun on the head. But you don't want that Hydra head to restore its HP to max. That's going to be bad. So it's going to be like one of those mechanics like in the dragon, where he goes back to do the dragon's breath. Same thing. So Poison Cloud. Poison Cloud blocks damage from all hostile poison effects. So your Calvalax, your Tomb Lord, your Dracomorphs won't be able to drop the poisons on them. They have Poison Cloud block on, or Poison Cloud. Additionally, every attack dealt against the Hydra head under this buff counts as a weak hit. HP burn debuffs cancel the effects of Poison Cloud. So when Poison Cloud is up, you want to drop an HP burn on that head. That means I guess you're going to want an HP burn champion for every team. You have your ninjas, your Elenarls, somebody. Okay. Champions whose skills mean they do not land weak hits and Affinity Breaker artifact set can counter this effect as well. Poison Cloud cannot be removed, stolen, or otherwise affected by buff manipulation skills. So again, Poison Cloud blocks damage from all hostile poison effects. You're going to want to use the HP burn to defeat it. Vengeance activates after the Head of Wrath suffers 15 hits, increases the head's damage by 300% for 1 turn, and triggers an immediate AoE attack. Vengeance cannot be removed, stolen, or otherwise affected by buff manipulation skills. So Vengeance, again, this is very specific to the Head of Wrath, only 1 head, and it does 300% damage AoE after it takes 15 consecutive hits. So, one to watch out for. Stone Skin removes all debuffs from the champion, makes them immune to all debuffs except bombs, reduces incoming damage by 85%, increases damage dealt by bomb debuffs by 300%, can be reset by dealing damage equal to 50% of the champion's max HP. So we already know this one's coming on this new set. We have Serpent's Will, activates when a new Hydra head grows in place of a decapitated one. Serpent's Will decreases all incoming damage by 75%. So again, do not attack the new head. Now we have Pain Link. This is a very familiar mechanic from stuff like World of Warcraft. Creates a link between the Head of Suffering and a target champion. Target champion receives 15% of all damage that the Head of Suffering receives, so the Head of Suffering gets full damage from the incoming attack. You don't want to attack the Head of Suffering at all when you have a Pain Link because you'll be damaging your champion. So Petrification removes all buffs, and that also says nothing about being removed. You can remove this apparently, so something to pay attention to. Your Doom Priest type characters. Petrification removes all buffs from the target champion and blocks any other buffs from being applied while Petrification is active, but the champion can still get debuffs. The target champion skips their turns. The cooldown of their skills does not get refreshed. Additionally, incoming damage is reduced by 60% except for damage dealt by bomb debuffs. Bombs deal 300% more damage. Now, this is kind of alluding to the fact that we want to bring some bomb people to Serpent fight, Hydra fight, and I don't have any, so that's going to be cool. Decapitated activates when the HP of one of the Hydra's heads reaches 0. The head is removed and turns into exposed neck. It cannot act for a set number of turns and takes 200% more damage. So decapitated comes into effect. That's when you want to drop them bombs. Okay, Mark of the Hydra. This is a special effect that marks a champion for devouring. It cannot be blocked, removed, or otherwise manipulated. It is also not a debuff, and thus debuff limitations do not apply. Mark of the Hydra is going to tell you who's going to get eaten. And then digesting marks the Hydra head that has devoured one of your champions. The head with this effect receives additional HP and a time counter. Deal a set amount of damage before that counter runs out to return your champion to the battle. If you fail, the champion is lost and cannot be revived or brought back by any other means. That's the basics for now. Please keep in mind that we're going to add more content for the Hydra in the upcoming months, including new heads, so keep your eyes open for more teasers and announcements. All that's left is to check out exactly what kind of beast you'll be facing in the first iteration. So more heads in the future. They're actually going to expand upon this. So I'd like to actually see more bosses, but this is a very cool boss to expand upon. Love this idea. Multiple heads, multiple abilities. They can recycle. I mean, it's really is genius. Genius, guys. Genius. All right, so I'm not going to go over all the Hydra heads individually in this video because that'd be a lot of information to go over, and we'll be here for another 15 minutes. So I'm going to save those head information for individual videos, and we'll come back with those immediately after this one. I'll probably drop those tomorrow or later tonight. We'll see in the times tables, but basically, I'm going to skip down to the bottom, and we're going to get to, got the stone skin set, we got the protection set, go over those as well in another video, but basically we have a different stat increase for every artifact you add to the hero. So 1 artifact, 2 artifacts, 3, 4, 5, 6. They get different levels of things. So as 4th artifact, you get stone skin, buff for 1 turn. 6 artifacts, you get it for 2 turns. Same thing with the protection set. With the protected buffs cannot be stolen or removed. You get different stats based off how many levels you have or how many artifacts you have equipped. Let's get down to the Hydra reward. Mithrala Lifebane. So Mithrala Lifebane, pretty cool name. She looks like a Medusa, and let me tell you, this Void Legendary support Dark Elf is absolutely amazing looking on paper. So, first of all, she's going to be a Hex champion. Places a Hex on her A2. She plays with the Hex on her passive. So, we really needed a Hex champion that's a support champion. All the Hex champions in the game they've dropped so far have been more or less damage dealers up until Vildrax. So we had, Cleopteryx, Thea the Tomb Angel, Rule the Huntsmaster, even Thylesia. For the most part, the legendaries were big-time damage dealers. So now they need some support heroes to kind of like round it all out, bring it all together. And Mithrala Lifebane is our first hero of that sort. And she has a brand new ability called Petrification. So brand new debuff, my bad. So A1's Libation of Pain attacks 2 times at random. Each hit is an 80% chance of placing a 5% poison debuff for 2 turns. So fully booked, that's 4 books. You have a 100% chance. Pretty nice. It only takes 8 total books for this champion, so not book heavy at all. Sigil of Toxic Glory in A2 attacks all enemies. Places a Hex debuff for 2 turns. Also places a 60% increased defense buff and a 50% increased attack buff in all allies for 2 turns. Then the A3 is Brimming Silex, removes all debuffs from all allies, nice cleanse, then places a 25% strengthen buff and a shield buff equal to 30% of this champion's max HP in all allies for 2 turns. So that's on a 3-turn cooldown when booked. Her passive is Gaze of Stone. Whenever this champion is attacked by an enemy under a Hex debuff, has a 50% chance of applying a Petrification debuff on the attacker for 1 turn. Whenever an ally is attacked by an enemy under a Hex debuff, has a 30% chance of applying a Petrification debuff on the attacker for 1 turn. Also increases the champion's resistance. The amount by which it is increased is equal to the amount of accuracy this champion has. So the more accuracy, the more resist you get. I'm pretty sure there's another champion like that in the game, but the name slips my mind of which one that belongs to. A pretty cool Hex and Petrification skill here. A little bit higher chance if she's attacked directly, and a little bit lower chance if an ally is attacked. Very, very cool. I'm looking forward to trying that one. It's going to keep your Rule the Huntsmasters probably alive and going along to the battle just a little bit easier. So Mithrala Lifebane's looking like an amazing champion to add to the game. You definitely want to add her to your roster, and she's looking like she's full of all kinds of cool stuff that fits the Hydra boss. So she's going to be someone you want to throw in your Hydra team, 100%. I mean, look at that. She has a cleanse, she has a strengthen, she has a shield, she has increased defense, attack, and a Hex. It also drops poisons. So she's pretty much a all-around character. She does everything. Amazing addition. And then the last thing, like I said at the beginning of the video, is we don't even have simple yet in the game, and we already have a buff to him. So Alexander the Sharpshooter is getting a buff to his damage output of his A2 and A3, and on the chance to place the freeze on his A1. So very cool. That's the patch update. I'm actually looking forward to this patch big time, man. This is going to be a huge addition to the game, and this in-game content is something we're looking for in every single game we play. I'm glad to see it's here. I'm glad to see they're adding stuff like this to the game, and I imagine that we're going to see all different kinds of Hydra heads in the future, basically all themed on different themes. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys are as pumped as I am for the Hydra boss. Please have a great day. Please like, comment, subscribe if you guys get a chance. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.